सहनो भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Yes.
So Swamiji has received quite many questions. So we'll start with the order they are received by Swamiji. So hopefully we can cover all questions, and if the time permits, we'll take the questions on the floor. So these questions are from Sunday Kindle Life. Number one, how can we remember God when we are doing our work, since our focus will be on the work?
Hari Om. Is the questioner there? So that if that person wants to ask another question. No. Okay. This question we have very many times answered. How to remember God even while doing our work? See, in the beginning it is not possible. In the beginning, for a beginner sadhaka, this is just not possible. So then what we suggest is, in the morning time, let there be some time where you remember God. There should be some time for prayer, meditation, etc., where you are not doing anything. Morning time and evening time, when you slowly practice this, slowly what happens is samskara starts building up in us. What samskara? What habit? The habit of remembering God. So at the back of the mind, this remembrance always remains. So it is exactly like how we learn driving. So in the beginning, where do we learn driving? Not in the busy streets. We learn driving in the open, isn't it? In the open ground we learn driving. And slowly a time comes when we are able to drive even in the busy streets. A time comes when we are able to drive even while talking on mobile phone. How did you gain this siddhi? With practice, regular practice. Just imagine, logically you can't even think of that. You have to pay attention to the road, you have to pay attention to the clutch and the gear and the accelerator and the brake and the steering and the rear view mirror. At the same time, this person is talking in the mobile and that person is talking with the others who are in the car also. How is it possible? You have only one mind. With one mind, how are you doing so many things? And that ability is there. At the back of the mind, so one mind, the conscious mind does one thing, the mechanical mind does something else. That ability is there. It's called as multitasking. Now let me give another example. Suppose you are invited for your contribution in the company in which you work. Suppose you are invited by your boss, the owner of the company, a very big person whom you respect, revere, etc. That person calls you for a lunch or a dinner party. Now for you that person is very big. And now you come. Let us say the president of the nation. Why small? The president or the prime minister calls you for a dinner party. And now you are sitting and having food with him. And only you two are there. And that president is surrounded by all the bodyguards and the commandos and all that. And you are the only one, a special guest. How do you feel? So even as you are having food, at the back of the mind, you are very alert. You very well know that I am not having food with some Tom, Dick and Harry. A very big person. So every moment you are very alert, yes or no? On one side you are eating, on the other side, are you forgetting that there is a person sitting there? No. Every movement you make, every moment of the limbs, you are very careful. Because a very big dignitary is sitting next to you. How are you able to do it? Is it that you stop and think about it and then you stop eating? No. Eating is continuing. At the same time, at the back of the mind, this is there. Very careful. So therefore, this is actually possible. Performing your duties at the same time, remembering God. But this is not possible for a beginner, I accept. But this ability comes to a person with regular practice. Yes. Next question.
Why should we not chant Gayatri Mantra after sunset?
Who told you? Who is the questioner? That's why I want the questioner, Gayatri Mantra simply says, I meditate upon that consciousness which is illumining my intellect. That sun actually is not some outside sun. It is a consciousness in us. That consciousness because of which everything is happening. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. I meditate upon the brilliance of that sun of consciousness which is illumining my intellect. Because of which I am aware of my thoughts. So, if this is the meaning you take, you can chant Gayatri Mantra any time, because outside sun may set, but this inner sun of consciousness never sets. It's ever available.
Before we were born, we are divine. Then why do we take birth?
Before we were born, we are divine. After we are born also we are divine. We continue to be divine. But what is the problem? The problem is we don't know that we are divine. The question is not that we are divine or not divine. No, we are always divine. Even now we are divine only. Even in our ignorance we are divine. Even when the fellow is dreaming, he is still the waker only, lying down on the bed. It is just a wrong notion in his mind that I am the dreamer. In the same way, it is only our wrong notion that, it is just a wrong notion in the mind that we are this body. We are ever divine. But what is the problem? We never knew that we are divine. So why do we take birth? We take birth to know this reality that we are divine. The moment we know this, rebirth also stops. If you have any question regarding this, you may raise. You may raise questions. I hope it is clear. Next.
How do we find the higher purpose of life?
Only when you come to satsang. Otherwise, you will remain in lower purpose only. Next.
Is consciousness and Atma the same or different?
They are same. Next.
There is theory about meditation in Kinder life. If we could practice meditation for a few minutes every class with your guidance, it will be really helpful. Our question on meditation will be solved if you could practice it.
Sure. Next.
We learn from scriptures that the soul is ever peaceful and blissful. Why do we write or say in our messages of condolences that may his or her soul rest in peace?
So when we say, may his or her soul rest in peace, there, soul means the mind, not the self. The Supreme Self is ever peaceful. Your prayer is not needed for it to be peaceful. Peace is his nature. So may his soul rest in peace means, may that Jivatma who has left the body be in peace. So what is that thing in Jivatma which we are praying for peace? It is the mind of that Jivatma. Because mind is nothing but Sukshma Sharira. Physical body is dead, but the subtle body is still there. And the subtle body, at the time of death, if it is disturbed, after death also that disturbance continues. So therefore our prayer is, wherever that Jivatma is, let it be at peace. So it is a mind. Next.
Can we have gross body and subtle body without causal body?
No. Next. Why? See, causal name itself is that which is the cause. So what are the effects? Subtle body is the effect of causal body. Gross body also is the effect of causal body. Causal body is always there. So when we are alive, all the three bodies are there. Gross body, subtle body and causal body when we are alive. After death, what remains? Gross body is gone, subtle body and causal body remains. What is that time when only causal body remains? In pralaya, in dissolution, even the subtle body also goes away. What remains is only causal body. Not only causal body, the whole prapancha, the whole world goes into its unmanifest state. There is only causal states, the unmanifest states. So that is the time when only causal body remains. But otherwise, all the three bodies, causal body is always there. When does causal body end? Only by gaining knowledge. Because causal body is basically ignorance. And that ignorance goes when self-knowledge is gained. That is the only way causal body dies. Otherwise it doesn't die. Yes, next.
The more I read, the more I feel that I am limited in my level of fourfold qualifications and sixfold wealth of sama, dhamma, etc. How do I cultivate these qualities?
See, this is how every seeker must begin. The more and more we study scriptures, in fact, the more and more we start understanding, we come to know that I am imperfect. This is how the journey of spirituality begins. Before we take up the journey of spirituality, what is our attitude? I am the perfect man in the imperfect world. I am perfect, world is imperfect. I am suffering because the world is imperfect. This is how ignorant people think. But as you start analyzing life, as we start analyzing our own mind, slowly we come to know, problem is not with the world, problem is with me. That is the first step. So therefore, the more I read, the more I feel that I am limited. Very good. Congratulations. You are progressing. If you are told, no, I think all the fourfold cultivation I have, then there is some problem with you. So the first step in spirituality is to know that I am imperfect, to know that there are so many defects in me, so many imperfections in me, and therefore I have to work on myself to improve myself. That is the time when real progress happens. That is the time when we start working on ourselves. Till then, where do we work? We work on others, trying to change others, reform others, correct others. So this is a very good indication that you are seeing your own limitation. How do I cultivate these qualities? Once this desire comes that I must change, once this desire comes, rest, everything will start falling in place. The most auspicious thing in life is that sincere desire that I must change. Then the conscious mind and the subconscious mind starts working on it to bring about a change. That's how the mind is designed. Once you have taken up a desire sincerely, the mind, the subconscious mind starts working on it. The rest, everything happens. But a tip I can give you, how to cultivate all these qualities. If you develop this one quality, the rest, everything will come. What is that one quality? Devotion for God. Just develop this. Once love for God starts growing in our heart, all other virtues, because devotion is the mother of all virtues. So cultivate this and rest, everything will fall in place. Right, next. Hey, you have one more mic? Let the follow-up question have a mic.
Whenever we are saying, I am imperfect or I want to get better, this is the play of intellect and mind, Swamiji. These two aspects of ourselves where we are aware that we are imperfect or that I want to improve, and noticing that I am not perfect, these two roles that we have, is that intellect and mind, is that the play between these two things?
Yes, to some extent you can say that. Because there are certain things which is right, but I am not able to do it because I love that which is wrong. So the mind is addicted to so many wrong things. So many bad habits are there. Mind is addicted to it. Intellect knows that it is wrong. But the intellect is not able to withdraw the mind from such addictions. So this is where I come to know that I am imperfect. Yes, it's a struggle between mind and intellect.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
How is Udana of Panchaprana responsible for emerging thoughts and subtle body living gross body at death?
Udana means, that name itself comes Ut. The term Ut. Ut means up. That which takes you up. Ut means up. So Udana Vayu. So what does it do? At the time of death, it takes the subtle body out from the gross body. That is one function of Udana Vayu. Another function is when we eat, when it's also an emergency system. When you eat something, the food is not gelling with the body, then that vomiting, that is also Ut. It goes up. Vomiting is done by Udana Vayu. Another thing which I think Puja Gurudev has mentioned is the replacement of thoughts. You see, constantly we are evolving. What is evolving? wrong notions being replaced by right understanding is called evolution. So actually our evolution is from ignorance to knowledge. So ignorance to knowledge means what? Constantly, especially when we are exposed to satsang, etc., there are so many wrong notions, and those wrong notions slowly starts getting replaced by right understanding. Now see, this prana is something which is the energizer for the body. So even to replace a wrong notion with the right understanding, energy is needed. For every function in the body, energy is needed. So even to think right, energy is needed. So thinking right means thinking higher. So here also ut comes. Ut means high. So you are being taken to a higher level of evolution when your thinking is going higher and higher. So therefore we say Udana Vayu is responsible for righteous thinking. That energy is supplied by Udana Vayu. Yes. 1 minute. You all of you have to speak on the mic because the recording is going on.
How can I keep it always at maximum function?
You have to keep your mind in sattva. You are down when you are rajasic or tamasic. You are at your worst when you are in tamasic state. You are at your best when you are in sattvic state, when the mind is sattvic. And how to keep the mind sattvic? Prayer, meditation, japa, all the spiritual practices will help you remain in sattva. So that is the way.
Pursuance of the sattvic nature is the pursuance of the sattvic nature.
Yes. Yes.
What is nervous system equivalent in Pancha Prana?
See, I am not clear about what this question is. If my understanding is right, nervous system is something which transfers signal, isn't it? Brain signal to different parts of the body. That's the function of nervous system. And what is the function of Pancha Prana? Pancha Prana is energy provider. For all the functions happening in the body, you need energy. To see, you need energy. To hear, you need energy. That energy providing function is called the function of prana. For digestion, for blood circulation, for breathing, everything energy is needed. Who supplies the energy? The pranas supply the energy. So pancha pranas are the energy providers, whereas nervous system is something which is carrying signal. So actually they don't have any relationship. And since the questioner is not there, we can go to the next question.
But I think, Swami, the question could be that all other pranas are related to digestive, circulatory system, but nothing is related to neurological system in our scriptures. So can we just say pranavayu, the prana, apana?
Yes, see, there are millions of functions happening in the body. Don't think that there are only 5 functions happening. Prana, apana, vyana, udasana. No, there are millions of functions. But broadly they are classified into 5. All the functions that are happening in the body, the energy is being provided by the pranas only. So individually we will not be able to say which. See, actually there are no 5 pranas also. There is only one. Only for our convenience we have divided into 5. Actually prana is only one. Exactly like mind, we divide into mano, buddhi, chitta, hankara. You don't have 4 actually. There is only one. Flow of thoughts. But depending upon the content of the thoughts, we have divided into 4. Thoughts based on emotion, we call it mind. Thoughts based on right and wrong, decision making, we call it intellect. But actually they are not minded, they are not 2. Classification is made by us for our convenience. In the same way, there are no 5 pranas. It is only one prana, one energy provider. But for our convenience, we have divided into 5.
Just I wanted to extend that. It is not my question anyway. I think the whole questioner trying to map the physiological system to the what is mentioned in the scriptures in Vedanta. So then the nervous system is related with sensory portion of sensory function of our body. So probably will it map to the manomaya kosha? And that I'm just guessing.
Kosha is different.
Like a pranamaya kosha or like that. So does it come under manomaya kosha?
Which one?
Nervous system. Yes. Brain and nerves,
See,
etc. All the.
actually, I don't know what nervous system is because I have not studied medical this thing. What actually is nervous system? If you can define, based on that I can tell something. What is nervous system?
Yeah, as we have studied cognitive science, it is like communication of the messages from brain to the other parts and then again back to the brain, which
Now tell
yeah,
me,
that's
what is that signal? Is it electrical signal?
yes, yeah.
Or is it a thought signal?
It is electrical signal only.
Is it electrical signal or a thought signal? See, unless I get into these details, I will not be able to say any of these things.
Right, okay. Okay.
Well, because from memory, if I'm tapping on a lit cigarette, I remember that I should not step on it. But at the same time, when the signal goes to my brain that I have tapped it, the karmendriya comes in the picture and says, okay, take it off, don't keep it there.
So it is more related to thoughts.
So and then in memory in my mind I stay that, I should not, like Gurudev's electricity example. That by mistake you touch the electricity and then you are current, so you get the shock. Next time you would not do that. So I think the idea of neurological system is a very big, sensory, motor, the nerves, everything. So I think the previous answer was pretty that we only have one prana for our, understanding we have divided. So I think one energy covers everything. So really, yes. But I think the question may be thinking of associating because the kinder life says this is digestive, this is circulatory, thinking that all systems are physiological functions are covered, the neurological function is not covered. So I think the prana covers everything.
Correct. It is the prana which is responsible for even taking the signals from one point to another. Because for everything energy is needed, energy provider is prana. For everything.
I think nervous system is a complex system which just communication system from mind to the sensories.
Next.
If every effect must have a cause, what is the cause of Maya?
Wherever you find Maya, understand the cause is only one, ignorance. When you don't know the reality, then the unreal is projected upon the real is not seen. This is Maya. Maya means what? It has two powers. Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. It covers the reality and it projects the unreal as real. This is Maya. So what is Maya? Something is appearing which is not there. So the famous example of rope snake. Why are you seeing a snake? You are seeing a snake because you are not seeing the rope. So therefore, the cause of Maya, wherever it is, there is only one reason for Maya. What is it? Ignorance of the reality. Because I am ignorant of the reality, I am fooled by the projection of the unreal. Next.
If animals act according to instincts, how do they progress?
If animals act according to instincts, how do they progress? You see, generally we think that all these animals are 100% programmed by nature. It is not. In animals also, they have their vasanas, their inclination, their tendencies. Some few years back when I was in Mangalore, I used to feed these pigeons, So I did lot of experiments on them. So on the terrace when I used to do my yoga, etc. So terrace was a huge place. So then I found that if I put some grains, the pigeons come. Then I did one, one research. I took some grains and then I would slowly knock one grain after the other. First I would knock the grain a little harder so it falls far away and the pigeons would come. Slowly, slowly I make the knocking little less so that the grains are closer to me. Now there were around 30, 40 pigeons. And now the question is, should we go near him or not? Because the grains are nearer. Very many of them don't have the courage. But some rare ones take up the courage and confront. And when one fellow comes, others also come. So you find varieties of reaction to the same situation. Some are courageous, some are more trusting, some are completely doubtful, some are full of fear. You see? And a time came when literally they were around me. I should not move, that's all. They were literally around me because one fellow comes, others also come. Slowly, slowly, slowly they develop the trust. And over a period of time, they know that this person will not do anything. So I could win their love and trust. So, but in the process, I learnt a lot of things about these animals. Otherwise, externally, we think that all pigeons are the same. They are not same. They have their own vasanas, tendencies, inclinations, likes and dislikes, fears. So this statement that animals act, it's all pre-programmed, it is not totally true. They have their own subtle body according to which they behave. And every animal is different from the other. This first statement. Next is, how do they progress? You see, there is lot of suffering in animal kingdom. Lot of suffering is there. For food, they have to struggle. For the security, they have to struggle. And generally the food is kept in places where their life is under threat. We see it all this around, the squirrels and all, they run here. But every moment that squirrel is scared. When some fox or something would come and catch me, it doesn't know. So there is so much of fear. So now, the law of this cosmos is, whenever a being suffers, that suffering purifies the mind, and that suffering helps the being grow. This is a law. No pain, no gain. So wherever there is pain, there has to be gain. This is a blessing of Mother Nature. Any being who suffers for whatever the reason may be, that suffering ultimately invites blessing also. Because for every pain that the being has undergone, Mother Nature blesses a higher evolution. Now, let us see how they progress. Suppose there is a rat. It is scared of cat. And now, what will be its thinking process? I am scared of this cat. This cat will eat me any time. And when it is caught by that cat also, what kind of thinking is constantly? Remember one thing, whenever we suffer, we introspect. Everyone, irrespective of who that being is, whether it is a bird, animal, plants, or human beings. Whenever we suffer, we introspect. Where have we gone wrong? How can we put an end to this suffering? This introspection every being does. So now, a rat is caught by a cat. So what will be the thinking of that rat? I am caught because I am a rat. If only I were to be a cat, I would have escaped this suffering. Yes or no? So, from the depth of its heart, one desire comes, may I be a cat? If only I had been a cat. All my problem is because I am a rat. Being a rat is not happiness. Being a cat is happiness. This desire from within that rat. Now remember, any desire which is coming from the depth of the heart of any Jivatma, the cosmos has to fulfill. Because this Jivatma is none other than Paramatma. So it is a desire of the Paramatma. And once the desire of the Paramatma is sent into the cosmos, the cosmic forces are meant to fulfill the desire. So then, what will be the next birth of that rat? It will be a cat. Again, the cat suffers in its cat body. Maybe a dog is chasing it. Now, what will be the desire of this cat? If only I were to be a dog, my suffering would have ended. And that cat becomes a dog. And now suppose that's a pet dog in a posh American family. So what will be the desire of that dog? Every time I have to obey this man. If only I were to be a human being, my problems would have solved. This fellow is evolved into. This is how it happens, you see. So therefore, how do they progress? Every time you suffer, you try to find a solution for your suffering. And you come to certain conclusion. And from the depth of your heart, you desire for that. And when you desire, the cosmos is there only to fulfill that desire. After coming to human birth also, this continues. The process is the same. A tamasic person is attracted by a rajasic person who has earned everything, who has all material comforts. So that tamas slowly evolves into rajas. He becomes a rajasic person. Then the rajasic person, he finds that even this material comfort is not sufficient. There is something called peace of mind. So he is inspired by a sattvic person. So then he evolves into a sattvic person. So this is how the progress happens. So everybody progresses this way. I hope it's clear. Amma. Yeah.
So how do we condition the mind to not have a desire and look forward to the higher, where we don't have to come back ever again?
Yes, this is a very important question. You are attending some satsang study group? You must attend. Okay. What is the way to become desireless? The way to become desireless is when we come to know ourselves. Our true nature is consciousness, which is Satchit Anand, existence, consciousness, bliss. My true nature is perfection. My true nature is God. There is nothing lacking in me. Existence is my nature, immortality is my nature, infinity is my nature, bliss is my nature. Once I know myself as I am, all the desires end. Because there is nothing to desire. Already everything is given to us. All desires come because at present I think I am the body. The moment you think you are the body, there can be so many desires, because body has to be secured, body has to be protected, it has to be bathed, clothed, fed, protected from so many diseases. So mind cannot keep quiet because there are so many desires, because the body is insecure. But the moment you come to know that you are consciousness and not the body, after that desires vanish, because there is nothing to desire. Already you are perfect. So therefore, how to put an end to all desires? Know yourself as you are. How to know yourself as you are? Come to satsang. Okay, attend study group.
Thank you.
Right.
If we have prarabdha karma, how much can we really change in our life?
See, prarabdha karma is also based on our own action, isn't it? So every moment we are acted by two forces. What are the two forces? The momentum of the past, which we call as prarabdha, and then effort in the present. These are the two forces which are constantly acting upon us. The resultant of the two forces is the destiny of the future. So therefore, every moment our destiny is shaped by self-effort only. Even the momentum of the past also was once upon a time the effort in the present. So therefore, how much can we really change? Arey, you only can change. Don't think that some God sitting somewhere is writing your destiny. No. Remember that God is also you only. Tat Tvamasi. So our entire destiny is in our own hands. Right. Next.
What do you think about using gemstones as prescribed in astrology to get rid of problems or get a wish fulfilled? Or even the concept of lucky and unlucky like horseshoe, black cat crossing, etc.?
See, the law of this universe is when you have strong faith in something, you start seeing it. Shraddhamayoyam purushaha yoyat shraddha sa eva saha, Bhagavad Gita says. Man is nothing but a bundle of his beliefs. Whatever he thinks true, he starts seeing it. This is a psychology. So if I think that using gemstone my life will change, if I strongly believe it, I start seeing according to my faith. It is all a play of mind. You see, generally in India this is very strong. If a black cat crosses your path, especially when you are going somewhere, then it is considered to be a very inauspicious thing. Now, look at this person. A black cat crosses and suddenly he says, oh my God, something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. Now, where is my mind tuned? My mind is tuned to everything negative that is going to come. And what frequency will I get? That frequency to which I have tuned. In the radio, which song will you hear? To the frequency which you have tuned. Isn't it? In fact, in the space you have all frequencies. But what will you hear? You will hear depending upon the frequency to which you have tuned. In the same way, everything is there in this world, good and bad. But if you have tuned your mind to something bad, you will receive only bad signals. Signals carrying bad news. So then, this was, see, morning, black cat cross, and that is why this has happened. That is why that. There are 100 other good things happening, he will not see that. He will see only the bad things happening. And say, see, this is very true. Isn't it? Suppose you create another faith. Black cat has crossed, now I am going to chant Bhagwan's name, and if I have chanted Bhagwan's name, nothing is going to happen to me. You will find that that also is true. It all depends on what faith you carry. So therefore, the best way is to develop faith in the goodness of God. See, the God who has created gemstones and horseshoe and black cat and all those things, you don't have faith in that God. You have faith in the creation, not the creator. How stupid it is. Who is powerful? The created thing or the creator? So instead of investing your faith in the created thing, why don't you invest your faith in the creator? People are there carrying all big gemstones, they will tie around their neck and then roam around saying that after this, oh, my life has changed. See, the worst problem is, even if you see results, your faith is in the gemstone. But if you have shifted your mind to God, your faith in God would have increased. That would have led you to your liberation also. So it is a very, it is a deal which is not profitable. So instead of having, and all these things are very costly also, and these gemstones, etc., 30,000, 50,000 rupees. In those times, I don't know now how it is. So people who don't attend satsang, this is where they get trapped. People, those who don't attend satsang, they have not studied the scriptures, they get stuck in all these kinds of stupid things. Wise people, they strengthen their faith in God alone. Right. Next.
My understanding is desire, anger, greed, delusion are the elements that causes human to fall. If those are bad, why those existed in God's creation? Why God allowed them in the first place? Does they serve any good purpose?
Enough.
Okay.
That is first question. The next one is the second question.
Okay.
Actually, there are two questions.
Yep.
Why did God create desire, anger, greed? If it is bad, why did He create it? It is exactly like asking the sun, "Oh sun, why did you create day and night? Especially the night, why did you create?" What will the sun answer? The sun will say, "Which night? I did not create any night." Which night? Because as sun, I know only light. I don't know what is darkness. But the person on the earth, he is complaining to the sun, "Why did you create night?" The only answer sun can say is, sun can say to earth, suppose earth is complaining to the sun, "When you turn your back towards me, you will experience night." If you turn towards me, you will experience only day, light. If you turn your back towards me, you will experience night. Isn't it? In the same way, God can tell the same thing to us. If you turn your back towards me, meaning if you ignore me, disregard me, then you will experience only night. Night means what? Suffering. This desire, anger, greed, delusion is for whom? For the ego. How is this ego born? Ego is born when the Supreme Self is neglected, ignored. Absence of God is the presence of ego. And presence of ego is the presence of desire, anger, greed, delusion. All these negativities. So who is experiencing the negativity? Don't say God created it. You created it. It is your projection. No, this world is for whom? This world is not for enlightened people. This world is for the foolish people, ignorant people. As far as an enlightened person is concerned, he has quietened the mind. There is no more world, there is no more mind, there is no more ego. There is only Supreme Self, which is Satchit Ananda. Don't say it is God's creation. In God's creation, there is no world. There is only God. And that God is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Everything is beautiful there. All these negativities are your creation. This is the first step. Is it answered? Ramesh Maharaj? Okay, next question.
Confusing thing is, while we are saying desire, kama, is enemy and root causes of all the evils in life, kama is part of 4 legitimate aims of life, Chaturvida Purushartha. Why bad thing kama has place in Chaturvida Purushartha if it is bad?
See, whenever kama is criticized, kama has generally 2 meanings. Kama means desires. Worldly desires also is called kama. Sometimes when it is strongly criticized, generally it has a meaning of lust. Sexual desire is also called kama. But in Chaturvidha Purushartha we have that kama. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So there kama means worldly desires. Fulfill your worldly desires through dharmic ways by earning wealth, artha, through dharmic ways. In this way purify the mind and ultimately attain moksha. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now one more thing we have to understand here. Can you get rid of desires all of a sudden? No. There is a way in which you have to get rid of these worldly desires also. How to get rid of worldly desires? So In the scriptures we say, you get rid of the lower worldly desires by fulfilling the higher worldly desires. Through the higher worldly desires, you overcome the lower worldly desires. If you have a tamasic desire, that tamasic desire should be won over by rajasic desire. Rajasic desire should be won over by sattvic desires. So this way, the worldly desires are also of different gradation. And finally, the sattvic desire is also won over by meditating upon the self. Then the sattvic desire also goes away. So desire also of different types. Now, it is something like, you see, when you walk on a thorny plain, and suppose there are some 10 thorns on your foot, what do? You take another thorn to remove all these thorns, isn't it? So, now one may say, "Arey, problems are created by the thorn and you are using another thorn?" Yes, but there is a difference. Using this thorn, I remove all the thorns. In the same way, using a higher worldly desire, I remove all the lower worldly desires. See, when you overeat, there is heaviness. Then what do? Again you eat. What is that? A medicine for digestion, isn't it? Problem was created by eating, but again you are eating. This eating is different. You see, though both of them are eating only, one eating is as an atonement to your earlier eating. Prayaschitta karma. So in the same way, all the worldly desires we have, when we have spiritual desire, like desire for attending satsang, desire for meditation, desire for developing devotion for God, these are all higher desires. And these higher desires destroys all the lower desires. And finally a time comes when all the desires are gone. You see? So therefore, though kama is worldly desire, there are different types of kama. Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi, Bharatarshava Bhagavan says. I am the desire in all beings, which is not opposed to dharma. Bhagavan himself says that in, I think it is in 10th chapter. Bhagavan says that. Or maybe 7th chapter. Did I answer? Okay.
Any practice and action, if we do again and again, we get monotony, bored, and lost interest and excitement. Does this applicable to spiritual practices? If so, how can we overcome this?
It is not necessary that just because you are doing something again and again, you are bored. Can you give an example? Eating. Are you bored eating? Your mic is not working, Baba.
If we are continuously eating without taking a break, at one point of time we feel
No,
it's
you
enough.
take break. See, say if you are 40 years old, 40 years you have been eating, and are you ever bored? Continuously you don't have to eat. 3, 4 times you are eating every day. Enough of eating, Baba. From now onwards, 2 days let me not eat. No. So therefore, just because you are doing something every day, okay, sleeping, are you bored of sleeping?
No.
So just because you are doing it every day, again and again, doesn't mean that you are bored. No. The question is, after doing it, what happens to you? After doing it. So after eating food, I feel nourished. I feel healthy, rejuvenated. After sleeping, I feel nourished. This is what is most important. The question is not whether you are doing it again and again. The question is, after doing it, what is the effect? So in the same way, after every meditation, every prayer, I feel fulfilled, recharged. Will I ever feel bored in my prayer? No. So the question is, after that, what is the result? But if spiritual practices are becoming very mechanical, then there is this possibility. If you are not refreshed mentally after prayer, then there is a possibility that you may drop the prayer. So therefore we have to ensure that we are consciously involved in our prayer, in our sadhana, in our japa, etc. Especially japa, if it is becoming mechanical, all the time you are thinking of the world, but the externally japa is going on, but the mind is only thinking of the world, you will not get the joy of japa. That is when slowly you start dropping japa also. So when we are consciously practicing it, truly connecting to Lord, you really will feel refreshed, and that will inspire you to continue your meditation without any monotony, boredom, etc.
So in the process of developing this connection and let's say that is the goal of the ultimate ideal goal, but every person is, especially for if person like me, cannot attain that state in a single day or 1 week or 1 month. So it's a combination of mechanical and war with the mind. Like, okay, it is always going outside and we are pulling. So during this, like doing, sometimes people, sometimes you will get bored and you will get tired and you will get, it's enough right now. That is the problem I usually see.
Correct.
Either in the meditation, that's when that happens, where our mind also tired and less energetic to fight with the mind. So it feels like it's so much comfortable for a moment to give it up, and but at the mental access, no, you don't have to give it. Once you give it, mind will take away to something else. Finally, you have to come back. It will take decades or something like that. So that trap, how can we avoid?
See, in the beginning, don't bite more than what you can chew. Generally, this happens, Highly inspired, and he says, I am going to do 3 hours. You will never do that. In the beginning, start with 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, and see whether you are really enjoying it. 10-15 minutes, it's never a problem. And always do when you are really fresh. Not when you are tired, you have come from the office and you are so disturbed. No. Early morning. When the body cooperates with you, mind cooperates with you, you are fresh. Try to do this. You will find tremendous amount of joy. Then slowly increase it. Just like, a marathon runner. In the beginning itself, he doesn't run 40 kilometers. No. In the beginning, just 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Slowly, the body becomes stronger, and then you are able to run more and more. The body slowly gets adopted to that new change. In the same way in meditation also. As the mind becomes purer and purer, you start slowly developing the stamina. There is something called stamina for meditation. That ability to remain focused for a long period of time. That stamina grows with practice. So in the beginning, don't directly get into 1 hour, etc. Just 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And that too when you are fresh. Then slowly increase. Then you will never have this problem. Right.
The creation of the world is said to be the dream of the creator, Lord Brahma. Is it meant to be an analogy to explain the falsify of the world like our dream world? Or is there any element of dream in the creation? After understanding the world as false, mithya, how to recognize the reality, the Brahman in it, as elaborately portrayed in Bhagavad Gita's Vibhuti Yoga?
The creation of the world is said to be the dream of the creator, Lord Brahma. Sorry. It is our own creation. Don't think that Brahmaji is dreaming, therefore I am suffering in his dream. Arey Baba, you are dreaming. Don't put this into somebody else's. Every time I want to escape from my own imperfection, by blaming somebody. Brahmaji, you are dreaming and I am suffering. It is my dream only, Baba. Yes, the laws, etc. belongs to God, no doubt. But the dream world is chosen by me, by my vasanas. Who is responsible for your dream? Tell me. What is dream world? Dream world is nothing but the impressions gathered in the waking state. With the impressions gathered in the waking state, those impressions create the dream world for me. So therefore, each one's world is different. Because the impressions gathered are different. So therefore, the creation of the world is my own creation. It is my own dream. Let us understand this first. Now the next part. After understanding that the world is false, how to recognize the reality, the Brahman? No. First is recognize the reality, then you will come to know that the world is false. Don't put things ulta. First thinking that the world is false and then recognize Brahman. No. First is you realize. See, in the dream also what comes first? You are recognize the world to be unreal and then you wake up, or you wake up and then you come to know that the world is unreal. What happens first? Knowing myself comes first. Knowing the illusory nature of the world comes next, as a byproduct, as a consequence. So the first step is knowing myself. So let us focus only upon knowing one's own reality. The rest, everything will fall in place. Don't do this mistake. How to prove that this world is unreal? How to prove that this world is unreal? That is not the way. Let the world remain as it is. You just try to find out who you are. Shift your attention to the self. Once you come to know the nature of the self, the world automatically. See, when we say unreal world, etc., understand it is a projection of the mind. This is what we say when we say it is unreal. Any imagination of the mind is what we call it as unreal. The world is a projection of my own mind. Why is the mind projecting the world? Because it has vasanas, tendencies. When will this projection end? When the mind becomes free from all vasanas, the projection also will end. How to put an end to all vasanas? Turn the mind towards the self. Once the mind is completely fulfilled in the self, vasanas end, and thus the projections also end. This is the way. Put the horse before the cart. When the horse moves, the cart will automatically move. Don't put the cart before the horse. The puller is the horse, not the cart. In the same way, know yourself as you are, the world will automatically fall into the category of illusion. Yes, next.
The faith is one of the qualifications of Vedanta studies. How can one develop it? Does it come by instinct or can it be developed by practice?
Shraddha means faith. How can we develop it? Faith comes with experience. So as you start walking the path of scriptures, there is more and more joy, there is more and more contentment, there is more and more peace. So when you start experiencing this peace, the faith in the scriptures start becoming stronger. Yes, when I did what they said, I am becoming more and more peaceful. That is how the Shraddha, the faith in the scriptures grows. In the beginning you start with an open mind, but as you start walking the path shown by them, when you start seeing that change in yourself, the faith starts becoming stronger and stronger. So, how can we develop it? Of course, it is developed by practice.
I have desires and I am collecting vasanas. To exhaust my vasanas, do I chase my desires and hope that I don't collect more in the process, or go after knowledge? With the latter, I may never get the ultimate knowledge and thus not exhaust my vasanas.
Pratibhaji. Who is Pratibhaji? Okay. The question is, should I chase my desires or should I go after knowledge? Correct? See, if the vasana is very, very strong, then you will not be able to follow knowledge. You will helplessly follow your worldly desires. If the vasana, if that desire for the world is very strong, but if it is not very strong, If still you can take your mind towards knowledge, then choose knowledge. Because all these worldly desires will just collapse as you are gaining more and more firmness in knowledge. Everything will just start disappearing. That thing which you loved the most and you thought that this is the be all and end all of life, as the knowledge starts taking root, suddenly you find that, arey, that was a useless thing which I desired. So therefore, if the vasana is not strong enough, if you can withdraw your mind and pay attention to knowledge, always choose that. Because any worldly desire, remember, the world is Maya, is a product of Maya, so your worldly desire is also Maya. Today you may think that is a very important thing, tomorrow you will find that the most useless thing. You can't trust it. It will cheat you. So, but if your desire is very intense, then better go for it, because there is no other choice. Otherwise, if there is a choice, always go for knowledge. Agre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. In the beginning it may be difficult, but in the end it will be nectarian. Chasing worldly desires, lifetimes are gone. Lifetimes. How much of time, how much of energy, how much of disturbance. But if the vasanas are strong, then we can't do anything. But if it is not strong, always go for knowledge. Did I answer? Okay. Mike, I have to always remind you. Yes.
When we talk about this worldly activity, worldly desire, Swamiji, one aspect of that is even duty, that you are here and you have duties towards what you are doing. That framework, how do we connect these two things? Do we, to perform your duty, probably you have to keep doing certain things. To have a clarity between that duty and desire, what is a way of thinking that we have to cultivate?
If there is something which you have to do, you need to do. For example, you are a mother, definitely you will have to take care of your child. That's a duty. You can't escape from it. Then you must do it. Though it is a worldly desire, you will have to do it. But do it as karma yoga. I am doing it as a worship of the Lord. I am doing it to please God. I am doing it for my own purification. I am doing it to develop devotion for God. When you are doing this, that very same action becomes a sadhana. But if there is something which you need not do it, nobody is compelling you, and it is not needed for you also, then drop it. Yes.
Swamiji, my question actually came from the equation joy is equal to number of desires fulfilled by total number of desires. What you said really had, it answered my basic question. Going back to the formula, I would maybe tweak it and say the numerator should also be not just the number of desires fulfilled, but the desire for knowledge also, times knowledge. So you can either increase knowledge or you can go after your desires if your vasanas are strong. Is my thinking right?
There it is, we are talking of worldly desires.
Yes.
Not desire for knowledge. That particular equation is all about worldly desires.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yes. Mike. Is the mic on?
Look at all the advancements which has happened in the world, right? So it is some desire which has arisen from someone's mind, right? So I want to build a next like a rocket or electric vehicle or whatever it is. So that is how it has. And then even if you look at the Chinmaya mission itself, it's a desire to propagate this knowledge. So as such, can the desire be said it is bad?
See, When Puja Gurudev gained knowledge from the Himalayas, every day he used to go to take bath in Ganga. So he felt that Ganga is speaking to him. Chinmaya, you gain the knowledge here. Look at me. I am flowing down for the welfare of the whole world. Though I am born in the Himalayas, I am going down for the welfare of the world. Don't you think that you should also do this? Spread this knowledge which you have got. So first Gurudev felt that maybe I am just, it is just a... But every day this call was becoming strong. The desire was becoming strong. And he felt that it is a divine force which is forcing me to. Then he came down. If he had not come down, he would have been miserable. Gurudev would have been miserable in the Himalayas. I am experiencing so much of joy. So many people are suffering. I could have shared this knowledge. I could have lessened the burden of sorrows in others' life. And still I am not doing it. It would have eaten Gurudev, that guilt. So therefore helplessly Gurudev came down. Such desires cannot be called desires. It is just, yielding to the will of the Lord. In fact, when you do that, there is peace. When you don't do that, there is disturbance. So find out which category it belongs to. Is it your personal egoistic desire or is it a divine desire? What is the proof? The proof is when you are disobeying the divine, you are disturbed. You are not at peace. So you will have to find out what kind of desire is it. If it is a divine desire, just obey it, whatever it is. Then only you are at peace. And remember to know that your mind should be in sattva, peaceful. In a peaceful state of mind, decide whether you should pursue that desire or end that desire.
So can we take it as if it is a cause for the greater good, the desire is good? Can we just interpret?
You have to ask your creator. I cannot answer it for you. You are allowed to tune to him and Bhagavan, if I do this, will you be pleased? Maybe you are not the right instrument for that. You are doing it maybe because of some hidden egoistic desire for name, fame, recognition, etc. See, ego can cheat you in so many ways. So what Gurudev did? Gurudev did not directly jump into action. No, he waited. 1 day, 2 days, but this thing was going on and on and on and become very strong. Then he understood, yes, it's a divine voice. I should not ignore it. In the same way, wait in patience. Clearly understand, is this desire divine desire or an egoistic desire? Take your time. And once you have decided, plunge into activity. Remember, others cannot guide you. Only God can guide you. You have to tune to Him to know what actually your Swadharma is. Right.
If one was to get severely ill, like get cancer, and they have fulfilled all their duties, should one accept that as their karma phala and not try to fight it with modern medical treatment? I understand this is one's choice, but if our scriptures were to make a statement here, what would they say?
Our scriptures are very clear. What is it? Idam shariram parinama peshalam patatyavasyam slathasandhi jarjaram kimaushadhaihi klishyasi moodhadurmate niramayam krishnarasayanam piba. Oh my dear man, idam shariram parinama peshalam. This body will decay and die. Patati avashyam. This body is definitely going to fall down. Slatha sandhi jarjaram. It will become old, all the joints will become weak, and finally the body will die. Kim aushadhaihi klishyasi. Why are you troubling yourself with medicine? Moodha durmate. Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. There is only one medicine, and that is Krishna Rasayanam. You see, even if you go for medical treatment, cancer treatment, how many more years can you live? This man has lived up to 70 years, he is not satisfied. This cancer treatment may at the most extend 10 years, 20 years. Still he has to face death, remember. Let us face the reality. Nobody wants to die. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva, Nachiketa says to Yamaraj. Yamaraj says, Nachiketa, I will give you long life. How much long life can Yamaraj give Nachiketa? As long as Yamaraj is in the post of that, Lord Death post, till he can keep. After that, he has to die. So even if we live thousands of years, we will never be satisfied with life. You know why? Because existence is our nature. Nobody wants to die. We can never desire death. So therefore, when this is the case, a little bit of medical modern treatment, yes, I don't say that this treatment is bad, but understand one thing, I have to face death someday or the other. A time will come when the medicine will stop working. Let me prepare myself for that. And how can I prepare? There is only one way, spirituality is the way. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi rakshati dukran karne. Nothing will help. When the time comes, nobody can escape. So therefore, the best way is start preparing even when I am healthy. Whether you go for treatment or not, it is up to you. But one day or the other we have to face this. So prepare the mind. How to prepare? Gain the knowledge that I am not the body, I am consciousness. It has no death. Body has to die someday or the other, some reason or the other. No medicine will save. It can little bit extend a few more years, but will it solve the problem? It's not going to solve the problem. So therefore, seriously pursue spiritual path. This is the only solution. The rest all appear to be a solution, but it is not a solution. And that cancer treatment also, it is such a terrible thing. How much of pain that person has to go through during that chemotherapy and all that. What kind of existence is it? Money gone, peace of mind gone, lot of pain. Far better is, Are Baba, die, 1 year, over, everything is over. Extending your pain. And everybody else is miserable because this person is eating money like anything. Treatment is so costly. Others may not tell you, but silently they are saying, Are Baba, this person, let him die. Why create trouble for everyone? All the sadhu mahatmas you should see, the way they should. They never went for any treatment. If that is will of God that I should die, let it die. But that needs tremendous amount of spiritual strength. So this is what scripture says. Before the body falls, hold on to that real in you, that permanent in you, and blissfully, happily, cheerfully leave the body. This is what scripture says. Answered? You have question? Okay.
You recited something in the beginning, Swamiji, about Aushadhi. What was that from? Where was that from?
This is from Mukundamala.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I had another question connecting to that. So all these treatments and eating supplements or anything, does that really extend the life? Because what we heard was the moment your prarabdha karma ends, body drops. So, taking treatments, getting, a lot of facilities are provided now by the medical system. Does it really extend the lifespan of a person?
Actually, it doesn't extend. But if your prarabdha karma is that you must eat supplement, then you will eat supplement.
If everybody had followed the scriptures by its word, I would not have survived, Swamiji.
But that will never happen, so don't worry. Your profession is safe.
In a number of places in Puja Gurudev's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, credit has been given to Vyasa as the great poet philosopher. one could interpret that as Vyasa's own poetry philosophy, and that did not really happen. Either Lord Krishna said it and Vyasa was the scribe, or Vyasa was the author. How should we interpret this?
Yeah, Bhagavan gave the knowledge to Arjuna and Vyasa expanded it. That's how it has to be understood. Vyasa gave it his own language. But the knowledge was coming from Bhagavan only. You can't say that it is Vyasa's own philosophy. No. It is Vedantic philosophy and it was ever there in the Upanishads. But Vyasa expanded it so that mankind will be benefited out of it. Yes.
I don't have the verse 25 of chapter 8. Pratibhaji, you have? Yeah, because that's a question related to that. So,
Dhumo ratris tatha Krishnaha Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapya Nivartate. That is a verse.
so what is the significance of summer solstice?
Summer solstice means it is Dakshinayanam, right? So what is the significance? There is no significance. So all those things, Dhumo Ratri, Tatha Krishnaha, Shanmasa Dakshinayanam, they are all the names of Devatas. They have nothing to do with the meaning of that term. Dhuma means smoke. It has nothing to do with smoke. They are all the Devatas. So when a person dies with worldly desires, that person goes to the higher worlds. So these Devatas, they take this yogi to the higher worlds and then bring him back. This is all the meaning is. So, while discussion of this 8th chapter, we had mentioned this. Just because a person dies during Uttarayana Kala, that person, just because you die during an auspicious time, nothing auspicious is going to happen to you. If something auspicious has to happen to you, your life must have been led in an auspicious way, divine way, serving everyone, performing all actions as a worship of the Lord. If you have lived a divine way, then irrespective of when you are going to die, your future will be divine, safe, auspicious. Just because a person dies during an inauspicious time or an auspicious time, his future is not altered. So therefore, it doesn't really matter whether a person dies during Dakshinayanam or Uttarayanam. It doesn't matter. Right.
In chapter 9, verse 4 says, all exist in me, but I don't dwell in them. Then verse 5 contradicts that and says, beings don't exist in me. Both together contradict the concept that self is in all of us. This is very confusing.
Anyway, the 9th chapter we are going to take up in September. See, that is true. Two statements are contradictory. Verse 4 says, all beings exist in me. Verse 5 says, nobody exists in me. Two contradictory statements. It is something like this. The whole dream world exists in me. Right or wrong? The whole dream world exists in the waker. When I wake up, I come to know the whole dream world was existing in me. Right or wrong? Right. The whole dream world actually doesn't exist in me. Right or wrong? See, they are actually contradictory. The dream world exists in me, that is right. Assuming that dream world is there. From the standpoint of the dream world, you can say dream world exists in me. But from the absolute standpoint, the dream world itself doesn't exist. So in that sense, I can say dream world actually doesn't exist in me. Because there is no existence for the dream world. This way they have to be taken. So first statement is all beings exist in me. That is from the standpoint of the world. Assuming that the world is real. For an ignorant person, world is real. So from that standpoint, Bhagavan says, yes, world exists in me. Exist in me means exist in consciousness. But from Bhagavan's standpoint, what about the world? World itself doesn't exist. So two standpoints. Exactly like there is day and night. For a person who is living on earth, he will say there is day and night. There is no day and night. This is from the standpoint of the sun. Both are right.
This is chapter 11, verse 32. God is considered beyond time and space. Then why does this verse say, I am world-destroying time?
You see, whenever we say God, there are three ways in which we have to understand God. One is Nirguna Nirakara Swarupa. Nirguna and Nirakara. That's the highest, absolute nature of God. He has no gunas, he has no akara. Formless, attributeless. That is the nature of consciousness. But then coming to one level down, with respect to creation, we have another definition of God. So God, with respect to absolute standpoint, is Nirguna Nirakara. Then one step down. With respect to creation, we say God is Saguna Nirakara. He has attributes, embodiment of virtues, but formless, all pervading. So then time and space comes. Because there is a creation, there is time and space. Saguna Nirakara. But when that God takes a form, an avatar and comes, then we have Saguna Sakara. An akara is also there. A form is also there. So Krishna has a form. That is Sakara. Saguna Sakara. He has attributes, he has form. So whenever a statement is made, you will have to find out which category it belongs to. Nirguna Nirakara, then Saguna Nirakara or Saguna Sakara. So when Bhagavan says this, I am world destroying time, so it is not from the absolute standpoint. Because there is no time, there is no space. Right. Mike.
Verse 32. God is considered beyond... Oh no, we read that, sorry. Chapter 11, verse 33 and 34. God is not the doer or all the ill actions of this world. God is not the doer or all the ill actions of this world would be attributed to him. In this verse is God claiming already slain by me contradicts that theory. How do we interpret this?
Here also the answer is the same. God is Nirguna Nirakara, he is not the doer, anything. But here when Bhagavan says that I have killed all of them, what it means is, I as Karma Phala Data has given Karma Phala to all of them. Bhagavan is also Karma Phala Data, giver of the fruits of action. So I have killed them means what? The laws have already started operating, and according to the cosmic laws, according to the action performed by them, they deserve to die. So the Karma Phala, the time has come for the Karma Phala to fructify. That is the meaning.
In the discussion of nature of self, Tattvavada refers to the self using the term it, a neutral word for the incomprehensible infinity entailed in the self, which has no form and no qualities. The occasion of this chapter and this question A session brings me to a question I'm sure you have gotten before. Gender is a mortal, perishable quality, so why do so many people revert to he, referring to God as male, when God is imperishable and immortal? Would you please comment on why the default is male and why, when there are two, we put so much weight on the male divine force and so little on the female divine force?
Whose question is this? Malini. Okay. You see, Amma, you are asking this question to a wrong person. Because this is a language related question. So therefore this question should be asked to a person who is an expert in English language. Why is God always called as He and not she? That is the question. Correct? Why is that in English language God is always referred to as He? Why can't He be called she? So this you have to ask whom? An English language expert, because I did not create English language. Or you can ask Christians also. Always they say Father in heaven. Why can't there be Mother in heaven? In fact, it is a biblical style. In Bible you find always God is referred to as He. So you can question a Christian father. You can question the English expert, but you cannot question me. Because in Hinduism, we have Navaratri for Devis, you see. And we have Devi Puranas also. In Devi Purana, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, they are at the feet of Devi, ever serving her. So in Hinduism, there is absolutely no such discrimination made. All kinds of Devi Devatas we have. Male, female, animal, even fish also. Matsya, Kurma, Vara, all categories are there. So therefore, you cannot ask this question to me. You can ask this question to a Christian father or an English expert. Correct?
One more question that came up in our study group was, is there a connection between Indra and Indriya? There is a deity for each of our Indriyas. Is Indra God of all Indriyas?
Yes. If you are taking that Indriyas, then of course Indra is the god of all Indriyas, the sense organs. Yes, that meaning can be taken. Thus all questions are over. Yeah, you can ask any question now.
So we say satsang, right? So if you go to a Bhagavad Saptaham, they also say it as satsangam. You go to a Radha Kalyanam happening, it's also saying satsangam. So in my place there is a building called satsangam, so where all this activities happens. So and then we come for Vedantic studies, we also say satsangam. So it has a different interpretation, meaning for different persons. Those who are more ritual oriented also they are called it as satsangam, without paying any attention to Vedantic studies or knowledge based thing. So how do we, what is the message, how should we interpret the satsangam as?
Sat Sangam. Sangam means association. Whenever you are associating with something good, Sat also means good, then that is satsang. But a higher meaning is when you are associating with Sat, Sat means truth. So every time your attention is turned towards the truth, turned towards self, turned towards God, then that is a satsang. So therefore your meditation also is a satsang. You don't need people around for satsang. Satsang means you are associating yourself with truth. Even when you are associating yourself with good people, that is called satsang. Even when discussion about truth is happening, that is satsang, because somewhere your mind is turned towards God. That is also satsang. So all these meanings are applicable.
So people attend all these discourses and everything, but are they really connected to the self in the Jivatma, Paramatma? But again, like they come out of that and then they start, the Beda is still there, like you, me, the complaining happens. But if that is happening still after going to all those, like what I said, did people really achieve what they have to achieve?
See, even if for some few moments your mind has been quietened in that ritual, in that puja, in that association, then that is satsang. If your mind has been quietened even for few moments, then it will have its results. Of course, after satsang, dussang happens. That is fine. You do all kinds of unwanted things. But even then, that satsanga mahima is always there. Because a time will come when you are disturbed here, then said, that when I was there, I was so peaceful. Now I am disturbed, so I must go back again. It has left a taste. Whenever the mind is quiet, very peaceful, you have experienced that nectarian bliss of the self. And even when you come back to the world, you are getting disturbed, but that memory is always there. Last time when I went there, it was such a nice thing. I must go back. So therefore, it will have an effect.
Hari Om Swamiji. So this question, it came up in our study group many times in different ways. I'm trying to put it up like this. So in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Gurudev explains the man of perfection. Person who is always in peace, and then the wise man, firmly established in the reality. But there are steps given to us to reach that. It seems like if I consider my mind has to be peaceful at every step through that ladder, if I consider Karma Yoga, when I do any action with the spirit of Karma Yoga, then mind has to be peaceful, perfectly peaceful. Then only it becomes Karma Yoga. But then if I also consider when I'm doing Karma Yoga, I have to be perfect. So it seems like to reach that perfect level, I have to be perfect every step. So it seems like a tough thing to do. For example, Shravanam, I cannot be listening, I cannot understand everything unless my mind is at peace. And then that perfection has to be reached to get the Shravanam effects of it 100%. So how do we proceed in this to reach that level?
See, the ideal thing is always kept at a very high level. So while doing Karma Yoga, the mind will get disturbed. If the mind never gets disturbed, why to do Karma Yoga? Directly you can go to Dhyana Yoga. The very fact that we are doing Karma Yoga shows that at present, mind has got all kinds of negativities. And that is why Karma Yoga is prescribed. But as you keep doing it, slowly, you yourself will find mind is becoming more and more pure. The mind is becoming lesser and lesser agitated. Earlier I used to get so agitated, frustrated, disturbed, anxious, worried. Now that intensity is coming down. Very clearly you can see. That itself is a proof that you are progressing. You can't do Karma Yoga in the beginning itself with a peaceful mind, perfect mind. No, not possible. If your mind is already peaceful and perfect, why can't you directly get into Dhyana Yoga then? Why Karma Yoga in the first place? So therefore, in the beginning, all these negativities will be there. But as you progress, you will find that you are doing the same thing which you have been doing 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But now you yourself find a tremendous amount of change in yourself. Earlier you used to get disturbed in so many things. Now, even when you are doing so many things, your mind is at peace. So this is what is called as purification of mind. And this is the way everyone has to grow.
So in other words, what you're saying is we do Karma Yoga, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, but we are not doing it perfectly, but we progress in each of these.
Correct. At present, we are able to know where we are going wrong. Mind is disturbed, okay, but why is it disturbed? We don't know. Where is it getting disturbed? We don't know. Slowly as you progress, you come to know, this is the negative thought which is disturbing me. You see? Slowly, things start becoming clearer. The subtle mistakes which I am making, the subtle wrong ways of thinking, which is disturbing the mind, I come to know. Then what happens? You are able to correct it. And when you are correcting it, the mind is more peaceful. So there are different stages of purification also. In the first stage, mind is disturbed, but I don't know the cause of disturbance. In the second stage, mind is disturbed and I become aware where it is getting disturbed and why it is getting disturbed. What is the wrong line of thinking? That itself is a great progress. And the third stage, you are able to win over those negative thinking. Positive thinking becomes natural to you, and therefore, amidst all activities, you are not disturbed. So there are stages of evolution in Karma Yoga also.
Study group, Swamiji, a question was raised while talking about the ladder of fall and rise. that Dhamma, control of sense organs, Sama, control of mind, how can these values be taught or developed if somebody already has a history of psychological disease like depression, anxiety? How do you start with those mind to become peaceful mind?
How to help those people? See, helping other people is last. First, let me help myself. Am I able to handle my mind? See, there is an unseen psychological law. To the extent you are able to handle your mind, to that extent you are able to handle the minds of others around you. Is a fact. The more and more you know how to handle your mind, the more and more you know the knack of handling others' mind. So where should we start? With ourselves.
So the question was raised by a parent, and considering for high school students, I don't know the basic, but the question was for a parent that how to give these qualities.
See, these parents are always worried about the children only. How to inculcate these values in our children? Are you inculcating it? Don't ask that, Swamiji. If you are not practicing a value, you can never be able to inculcate that value in anybody else. Let us all start from ourselves. And children behave exactly like our mind. What is mind? Mind behaves according to likes and dislikes. Children are also like that. They behave according to their likes and dislikes. So once I am able to handle my mind, I will very easily be able to handle my children because they also behave the same way. Many times, all the times parents have only this one complaint. Swamiji, how can I improve my children? Unless you improve yourself, you cannot improve your children. Full stop.
Hari Om Swamiji. I have a very basic question. So we talk about attaining knowledge and withdrawing from the world and draw our attention to our inner self, right? So I've been hearing so much about our inner consciousness, our Atman. And it has been left to my own interpretation on what really that consciousness is. What is Atman? And it has only been in my mind in an imaginative way. It would help if you could put some narrative to what really is consciousness. What is that Atman? How would you describe it?
Any description is not going to help you. But even then I will try. Are you aware? Are you aware? Anything. Are you aware of your presence now? You are sitting there on the chair, you are looking at me, you are holding your mic. Are you aware? There is an awareness, isn't it? I am aware. I am conscious. This is that consciousness. How to describe that? I don't know. Every moment that awareness is there, every moment. The moment your attention goes into the world, at this thing, that thing, you have lost attention to that awareness. So, one of the scriptural practices is just be aware of what you're doing. My hand is moving, be aware. My tongue is moving, be aware. I'm listening to the sound, be aware. If you start just paying attention to what you're doing, slowly you come to know what awareness is. It cannot be described, but it can be experienced. All these words are just a pointer. Pointer is not the pointed. Just be aware. Heart is beating, just be aware. You are walking, legs are moving, just be aware, just be aware, Just be aware. And slowly, slowly, as your attention goes more and more towards awareness, you come to know what awareness is. You can't describe it, but you know what it is. Especially when the mind is very peaceful, that awareness becomes very prominent, evident. That awareness is God. More silent the mind is, more clearly you experience that awareness. So therefore, in the scriptures we say, the more and more selfless activities you do, the more the mind becomes pure. And in that pure mind, you experience it. So first start with this. Just be in the moment, in the present. Don't allow the mind to go into the past or the future. Whatever you are doing, just pay attention to that. If you are writing something, just pay attention. Not what you are writing, but your hand movement, the pen movement. Even when you are brushing your teeth, just be aware of how the bristles are going past your teeth. You see? When you are looking here and there, be aware of the eyeballs going here and there. When you are walking, be aware of the presence of that ground. Be aware of that mobile ringing. You see? Just be aware. Just be aware. Don't escape the present moment by thinking something of the future. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go home and do. No. Come back. In the present. Don't allow the mind to escape the present. As you practicing remaining in the present, you suddenly feel you are in the presence. Got it? As you practice being in the present, you suddenly experience a presence. In that presence, you are not there. It is just there. Ego is completely effaced. There is only a presence. And that presence has no name and form. That presence has no desire. It is just present. No likes and dislikes. So the first step is being in the present. And you will find that tremendously mind is relaxed when the mind is in the present. When the mind goes into past and future, there is a lot of tension, worry, anxiety, disturbance. You just train the mind to be in the present, suddenly you find you are relaxed. Whenever the mind goes somewhere, bring back to the present. That is the first practice. Clear? Yeah.
And yeah.
So, to that follow-up question, so just giving and taking an instance, right? So if someone dies, but still the mortal remains still there, he is not either cremated or buried, we say the X has gone. Right? So are we trying to give a X name to that Atman there? Right? When someone has gone, right? He has gone, the body is there, the body is not the person, but X is gone. In general practice, when we give a name, are we trying to give a name to the Atman inside the person?
So when we say somebody has gone, you are talking of that bundle of thoughts, Sukshma Sharira. There is a person who had a bundle of desires. That Jivatma. So somebody has gone, means that Jivatma has gone, not the Atman. Atma cannot go anywhere because it is all pervading. Consciousness is all pervading. It cannot leave anything. But yes, that entity, the Jivatma has left. It is a Sukshma Sharira which leaves.
So one more question. Like you said, like you have to experience that, right? So actually, with my basic knowledge, what I heard from Upanishad is that the Atma is the one which is making you to experience everything, not you can the other way experiences. Is it like a basic versus advanced way of understanding?
See, there is a state of being which every one of us experience every moment. I am. That amness is that consciousness. You are or you are not. I am. How do you know? I am experiencing it. I experience my existence. I am constantly aware of my existence. I am conscious. That consciousness has no color. It has no attributes. It is just there. That is reality. Upon that, my mind will project so many thoughts, desires, likes, dislikes. But there is an underlying, substratum upon which everything is happening. There is a silent presence. There is a conscious presence upon which the chattering of the mind is happening. Even when the mind is chattering, it is ever there. Whether the mind is there or not, it is ever there. Turn your attention there. That is Atman.
So earlier on, you had mentioned the mind is at its best when it's in the sattvic state. So is there a particular time in the day when your mind is more sattvic versus the other times? Or should we tune our mind in a certain way so that it is in sattvic state all the time?
Mind is generally sattvic early in the morning. The cosmic forces also helps you attain that sattvic state. The body is also well suited because it has taken rest. Body has taken rest, mind has taken rest, and the cosmic forces are also in that state. So you will experience a sattvic mind early in the morning. If you have taken good rest, you will experience it. But yes, later on in the day also you can with your effort make it sattvic. It is possible. But something which is naturally coming is always in the morning. More intensely you can feel that sattvic state. Other times also you can. But this is something which comes natural to you.
Does it have to be during the Brahma Muhurtam, which is at 3:30 in the morning? Or
do not have to go to 3:30 and all that. Even say 5 o'clock will fine. See, you must have taken proper rest. Just because you want to get up at 3:30, you sleep at 11 o'clock and get up at 3, then you will only sleep during Brahma Muhurtam. Unless you have taken full rest, you can't make use of that Brahma Muhurtam. Body needs rest, you have to give rest. So sleep early so that you can get up early. Then the body will not demand rest. So at that time you can clearly feel it. And again, after Brahma Muhurtam, suppose you are meditating. After some time the mind will get tired. So again 5 o'clock you will feel sleepy because you are tired now. Because the mind has a stamina. After some time it will get tired. Don't say that, Brahma Muhurtam I am feeling sleepy. Because it is tired. So then do some grosser sadhana. Intense sadhana do when mind is intensely sattvic. And you must know that it can be done only for some time. After say half an hour, 1 hour, it is tired. Then again you will feel sleepy then. Right. Why is there a life cycle of birth and death? Spiritual path detaches us from worldly desires and gets out of cycles of birth, action, birth. Why do we need to go through this action cycle if ultimately going to reach there? Why did life begin? Why is there a life cycle of birth and death? The purpose of rebirth is for only one thing. We have to reach our destination. What is the destination? Our own self. The destination is wrong notion should completely go away, right understanding should become firm. Till this happens, this cycle of birth and death will continue. Is there a person there who has asked this question? It is your question? Okay, now you have to say whether you are satisfied with my answer or not. So, constantly this process of evolution is happening. I have a present knowledge at present. With this knowledge, I perform action. That action gives me result. Result is basically joy and sorrow. If it is sorrow, I introspect. I correct my knowledge. With the corrected knowledge, I again perform action. With that action, I get result. The result is either joy and sorrow. If it is joy, that means my knowledge is right, so I don't have to correct myself. If there is sorrow, that means my knowledge is wrong. I have to introspect. Again, introspection, I come to know, oh, this knowledge was wrong. That is right. I upgrade my knowledge. So, upgrade the knowledge, perform action, get the result. If it is sorrow, introspect. Again upgrade the knowledge, correct the knowledge, again perform action. A time comes when knowledge is perfect. So therefore, peace is also permanent. After that there is no introspection. After that there is no cycle. Then you are free from birth-death cycle. Is it clear?
Yes, Swami.
Give the mic.
Yes, Swamiji, that is clear. But then the fundamental question is then why did life even begin? Like, from the stone life to the plant life to the animal
When did
life.
it begin? It is beginningless. Ignorance is beginningless. It never began. If you say it began, then that means what? Before that knowledge was there, then ignorance came. See, this is a journey in knowledge, isn't it? From ignorance to knowledge is this journey. Ignorance of the self to the knowledge of the self. If you say it began somewhere, say at time t equal to 0, it began. What does it mean? At time t equal to 0 minus knowledge was there, then ignorance began. Is it possible? Can ignorance begin from knowledge? It is not possible. So therefore we have to conclude this ignorance was beginningless. So this journey is beginningless. There was never a time when everything began. Suppose knowledge is there, why should I come back? And if at all, after gaining knowledge, if I come back, what is the guarantee that after gaining knowledge, I will not come back again? This is terrible. I work so hard and gain self-knowledge, and after some time I feel, array, I am bored, let me go back. Array? So it is impossible that after gaining knowledge, a person will come back to birth death. So therefore it simply means this journey was beginningless. There was never a time when I knew myself as I am. There was never a time. The journey was beginningless, but it need not be endless. The moment knowledge is gained, everything is over. Clear? Yes. Okay. Next question. God is everywhere. We can pray at home. Why do we need to go to a temple to pray? Actually, you don't have to go to... Whose question? Whose question? Nobody is there. Okay. You don't have to go to temple to pray at all. If you are that capable. But generally we all know the surroundings affect the mind. This is a fact. If I am in a very worldly, sensuous surrounding, praying becomes very difficult, meditation becomes very difficult, withdrawal of the mind from the sense objects becomes very difficult. So therefore we need to have a conducive environment where withdrawal becomes easy. So in a spiritual environment, you will always find that we are easily able to withdraw the mind from the world. So therefore, such a conducive environment is created where we can pray easily, meditate easily. But for an advanced seeker, it doesn't matter where he is able to pray, he is able to meditate. Why is Hatha Yoga called mystic way, the path of mysticism? I don't know. Whose question? Hatha Yoga basically focuses upon the body, the bodily activities, etc. See, there is nothing called mysticism. There is nothing called mysticism. The moment you know what it is, the mysticism in it is gone. Right. Anything related to consciousness, they call it mystic. Mystic in the sense in what? It is a mystery. Why mystery? Because most of us don't know. Something which we don't know, it is mystic. So for us, there is nothing called mysticism. How do you balance between staying on course of the path of divinity, spirituality and doing worldly activities, detached from the world? How do we balance? How do we develop the vairagya? How to balance between family life and spiritual life, right? Whose question? Acha. So, karma yoga is the way. Perform your actions as a worship of the Lord. While performing action, fully get engrossed into those actions. And once everything is done, evening or morning, spend some time only with God, all alone. And then review the whole day, what all you have done. And then try to think how God has helped you in solving your problems. Whether it is professional problem, whether it is family problem. How God has helped you or how God can help. There is some problem which is troubling you. Say, God, I want a solution for this. This particular thing I don't know how to solve. Please guide me. And mysteriously you will find that guidance comes. And every time that happens, you find that yes, there is some force, there is some power who is always with me, guiding me, protecting me. Slowly that feeling becomes stronger and stronger. So, the best way is take all the worldly problems to God and try to find solution there. Always, you should, in the evening or in the morning, how the day has passed by. Just go through. From the morning you just go. Hour by hour. How slowly things had happened previous day. There would be somewhere when you got disturbed. Somebody disturbed you. Something did not go according to your plan. Analyze those situations and then connect to God. Bhagavan, how can I solve this problem? Or sometimes it was really a tough time and suddenly some solution came and everything became smooth. Don't forget to thank God. Bhagavan, I was really trapped there. I did not know what to do. And by your grace, everything happened. So in this way, mix worldly activity with God's presence. This is how you begin. And slowly, God starts taking over. It will happen. It will take time. Then you will find that actually there is no difference between worldly activity and spiritual activity. The worldly activity itself becomes spiritual activity because you start feeling God is ever there with you, guiding you. There was never a time when He is not with you. In fact, you find that everything I am doing it is because of His grace only. Then you will never have this problem of worldly activity and spiritual activity. Every worldly activity becomes a spiritual activity because that worldly activity becomes a means to worship the Lord. Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam ashtamurti bhrat deva. Jagata sevanam itself becomes deva pujanam. Clear? Yes.
One follow-up question, Swamiji. So, while practicing vairagya, so earlier also you gave the example of doing the worldly chores or worldly requirements as karma yoga or, worldly requirements. Like example of mother taking care of a child as a part of God's will to do that, right? So as a part of that, the OETs, right? We are able to detach fairly physically from the objects. But the emotions and thoughts as a part of this vairagya, being a mother or a father to a child, how do you detach from those emotions and thoughts when you have a family or...
See, you should never, if a child is there, there should be a what you call motherly emotion or a fatherly emotion. It is necessary. But now what you do is, you see this motherly emotion coming from Divine Mother. You don't say it is my emotion. Say, for example, there is love for your child. Where is this love coming from? You find that, oh, the real father is he. The real mother is he. I am only an instrument taking care of this child. So when you are seeing all those emotions, now you don't say it is my emotion. You say this emotion is coming from that divine source in order to protect his child.
Understood. But then we as physical beings, we still experience those emotions and thoughts.
Yes.
So doesn't that intervene with us being able to completely detach, because we are the ones physically going through those emotions and thoughts?
Correct. So instead of totally identifying with the emotions, distance yourself from those emotions. This will really help you in meditation, because in meditation everything is distancing. You have to distance yourself from everything. You have to objectify everything. Everything should become an object except consciousness. This will help you a lot when you are going through that emotion. But if it is a negative emotion, try to find out where that negative emotion is coming from. You will always find that negative emotions come when God is forgotten. Always. When God is forgotten, our mind becomes filled with negative emotion. So immediately turn to Him, and then you will find that the emotion just disappears. When somewhere we forget that God is the real father and mother, we think that I am the real father and mother. When this mistake is made, that is when we get completely sucked into that situation. Completely get disturbed. We get sucked into the world when we forget the Lord. So yes, in those situations sometimes that happens. Let it happen. But after some time, again come back. Then analyze. You see? At the seat of meditation, okay, all these things have happened during that time. Sit and analyze with an objective mind. Then try to see the hidden hand of God. Try to understand where I have made this mistake, because of which I got too disturbed and got angry and did something and all that. What is the mistake I made? Oh, intense attachment or forgetfulness of God. So after that the whole thing is, see, at that time you will not be able to detach and all that, not possible. It needs tremendous amount of strength and practice. Doesn't matter. After everything is over, come back, sit in silence, analyze the whole thing objectively. In the light of spiritual knowledge, then everything becomes clear. And if you have told something wrong, go and apologize after. I'm really sorry, in that mood I told something. Whatever has to be done. So, enter into the world, meditate. Again enter into the world, meditate. This should be the way. Then you become wise. That's what Ishavasya Upanishad says. Ishavasya Upanishad says, if you follow avidya, you are going to hell. If you follow vidya, you will go to greater hell. So then what to do? Combine vidya and avidya. So this is the combination. Be in the world, go through everything, but don't remain there. Again come back, remain in meditation, analyze the whole thing in meditation with God. Again you can't remain there for long. Come back to the world. So constantly vidya and avidya, in the world with God, in the world with God, you become mature. And lot of things you learn about your own mind. Lot of things. Lot of secrets are revealed to you about your own mind, about your own emotions. And then you are able to work on your emotions better. This is the way.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Right. In life, what are the consequences of good deeds and bad deeds? In our lives, we see people who do bad karma, go through successful life, get power and money, but they are not touched. Why does divinity not interfere? Whose question? Acha. Is it answered or not? Not answered. See, Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati, Bhagavan says. Karma and karma phala, they always go together. So if I have done good, good things will happen to me. If I have done bad, bad will happen to me. Now, looking at others, you cannot say, see, this person is such a cruel person, but everything good is happening. You can never say that, because where are we living? We are all living in our thoughts. We are not living in this world. So it is possible that I may have all kinds of comforts, luxuries, servants and everything, a lot of money, but I may be in hell if my mind is agitated, if my mind is disturbed. I will not be able to enjoy all these comforts at all. But if the mind is absolutely peaceful, even though I may be living in a hut, I am in heaven. So always remember this, we are not living in the world, we are living in our thoughts. So at the mind level, what that person is going through, nobody has entry there. If my thoughts are negative, I will be in hell alone. If my thoughts are selfish, I will be hell alone. The greatest hell is a disturbed mind, agitated mind. Anger, lust, greed, jealousy, my God, it is terrible. There are people who have to have, sleeping pills, even to get a proper sleep. Can you imagine? Very rich people, they have to have sleeping pills. Otherwise, the mind is so agitated. They get addicted to all these drinks and drugs, etc. You call it heaven? This is at the mind level. Of course, at the worldly level also they will suffer. At all levels there is suffering for a person who has lived a very immoral, corrupt life. So don't ever think that a person can get away by doing all those wrong things. No way. It is Bhagavan's world and you get what you deserve. So therefore, always be clean, always be pure, and you will find that everything good only will happen to you. As you sow, so shall you reap. Also, every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. So these are all the laws. Dharmo rakshati rakshitah. In all religions, these laws are there. So there was never a time when this law has been. So therefore, this firmly we have to believe, because otherwise in tempting situations, there is a tendency to yield to baser values, baser urges. There is a tendency to compromise with higher values. Never. Right. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.